one point I was like, well, there's only 14 cars left. I said, I might as well just go race now. So you just got to stick with it. I mean, this is the one track where you can be, have quite a bit of damage and still get up there and contend. And that's what kept me going, knowing we were still going to be in it and be able to get a good finish.
All right, gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Good luck in Atlanta.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, man. Thank you. Denny, I don't know about this, man. There's a lot more people in here than for It's just like it.
All right, we are now joined by the winning team of today's Daytona 500. We have our driver, Denny Hamlin, crew chief, Chris Gabehart for the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota. This is Denny's second Daytona 500. This is Chris's first Cup start as crew chief and first win. We will open it up to questions for these two. Please raise your hand. We'll start here with Matt.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week. This is a question for both of you guys. Kyle was in here earlier and said that he was trying to coordinate the restart plan, the restart before, and that you guys had declined. And then he said that once you guys got the lead, that you guys were more willing to try to negotiate a plan with the 18. What went into both of those restarts and the planning back and forth with them?
Yeah, I think the first one, I'm not sure if it was a green-white checkered or not, but it was inside 5 to go. And I thought that, any deals and stuff like that, our original deal was inside 10 to go. After that, you kind of race. We kept going. We had, I think, a restart with 7 or 8 to go. We worked together. And then they asked, I think they asked, and we said, let's just race it out. And that was with the second to last restart. We decided we wanted to kind of race it out, being on the front row. I kind of liked, and I was hoping he was going to take the line that he chose, and he did. So that put us in a good position. Everything that all the experience that I've had, I knew what line I wanted to be in, and it was going to be a 50-50 shot whether he put us in that line or not. And when he did, we got the lead. The caution came out, and then we were fine. Just going ahead and staying racing like we were. I knew the top line was the line I was going to choose, and they actually came over. I think they came to my spotter and said, "Hey, do you want to drop down in front of us? We're open to do that." And when I saw him and the 22 lined up, I was like, "Well, absolutely, sure, I definitely will do that." So I thought that was the best move for us, but it still gave him a great opportunity to win because he got a great run on us on the backstretch, and we had to block it. And so I think that he probably knew the same thing that I did, is that bottom lane deteriorates really quick at the end of these races. I've been on the bottom lane 3 or 4 times here on a green-white checker and lost the race every time because it was just not the place to be. So I thought that he was actually pretty smart in thinking that, hey, if I drop down in front of him, that puts him in the position to go on offense against me. So if he's on the inside of me and I'm right there on his door, there's no offensive play that he can make. He made the right move, in my opinion, to let us do that so he can have the 22 and make a run.
We're also joined by team owner of Joe Gibbs Racing, Joe Gibbs. We'll continue with questions. We'll go to Al, Jacob, Kelly, and then Jerry.
Yeah, Al Pierce from Auto Week. Chris, for you, not to short shrift what you've just done, but a lot of athletes and coaches say, okay, we're on to the next one. Atlanta's going to be a whole new deal. The rest of the year is going to be a whole new deal. Is it difficult for a crew chief to prepare every week for an aero package and a rules package different from what you had the week before?
Yeah, well, I can tell you the unfortunate truth is we probably just lost a day preparing because we're going to be here putting a car in the museum, and that's quite all right with us. But you're exactly right. With all the unknowns in NASCAR right now with the rules packages, I think you guys are in for a treat week to week. You're never going to know. Everybody's trying to figure it out, and every racetrack's going to be a little bit different. So there's going to be a lot of comers and goers to start the season, but I have so much confidence in the people around us that Joe Gibbs Racing and FedEx and Denny trusting in me to allow me to do this. And we've just got such a strong group around us. I'm just a lucky guy that every now and then gets to jump up and call the play. But in the past 3 months, it's become so evident to me that it's about the people around you, and I'm just a very small part of that. And let me tell you, this 11 FedEx team has a very good group around them, and I couldn't be more excited to get going.
You're already looking to Atlanta.
Not tonight, you won't be.
I don't mean to discredit this win, but I'm always thinking about the next one, no doubt about it.
Go to Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport Magazine. Got a couple here. First for Coach, you were in here earlier in the weekend talking about what it might mean if this is storybook though. I mean, what emotions? What's going through your mind after this?
I'd just like to retrace for a minute what happened tonight, which is, it's the most emotional and the biggest win I've ever had in my life in anything. JD built our race team, was the guy that ran day-to-day operations for 27 years. He invested his occupational life in our race team. And as a part of that, he went up to purchase some late model stuff from Denny and struck up a relationship with Denny, put him in a test, put him in a truck, put him in a Xfinity car at Darlington, and finally he said, we need to sign this guy. And so that started the relationship and everything. And
Thank you for that first check, by the way. I got a set of rims for my truck and a plasma TV. I was a hit in my town.
that is the truth. He had nothing, okay? And 3 years later, he bought a house next to me that was twice as big as my house. So it tells you I get in the wrong end of everything. But I wanted to retrace that and then to say JD's favorite number was 11. When he raced, that's what he had. Denny's number is 11. Denny put JD over the doorpost on that car. And to have that take place, everything that took place tonight, everybody knows we've been to Daytona 27 times. We had won twice before. And so, you're thinking about things, and I guess everybody could say, well, that just happened. I don't believe that just happened. I honestly believe it was, I think the Lord looked down on us, and I know JD and everybody in my family was emotional. Called home to Pat, and I called sponsors that were emotional too. It was just an unbelievable night, unbelievable crowd. The whole thing was just a special memory for me, and it's one I'll never forget, and it was the most important night of my occupational life.
Denny, two parts for you. Number one, I know you were trying on TV to put it into words. The Gibbs family, this win, I mean, what does it mean sitting here right now? And the second part, what is it with you and new crew chiefs bringing them to victory lane in this race?
Yeah. For one race, he can just hop on the back. I'll carry you in here, but I'm going to need him the rest of the 35 other ones. I'll say that, kind of answering last question first, but Chris is just so prepared. I mean, almost information overload. I have to temper him sometimes like, okay, I got it. I don't need motivation. I don't need any, thank you for the information of all the things that I need, but he's just so prepared and he never leaves. He, just in the couple months I've worked with him, he's just so meticulous about every detail and giving me all the information that I need to go out there and succeed. And so, that's the kind of guy that you look for that can carry you a long way. And, as far as, the Gibbs family, it's just great to, hearing that, Joe and everything that he has accomplished in his life. I mean, he's a NFL Hall of Famer and, Super Bowl champion, and saying that this is the biggest win of his career is just special. And it's just special for me to be able to, deliver that to him in a special way. I know he would have been happy with any one of his cars going out there and getting a victory, but obviously one with his son's name on the door and number is probably a little more special.
We'll go to Kelly, Jerry, and then up to the press box.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Denny, first off, did I hear correctly over the radio that now that you're a two-time Daytona 500 winner, Michael Waltrip can kiss your ass?
Yes,
And can you
yes,
please explain that?
That's the only thing he ever held him over my head constantly. Well, I've got two. So, yeah, it's we're such good friends, and it's, you know, we play golf all the time. Everyone knows that, but yeah, you know, he would always, you know, we would always go to these golf tournaments. Then he introduced me, and then I introduced him, and he's like, you know, hey, I got 2 of those. I got 2. Just think, twice as many as you have. So, not anymore.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTires.net. Denny, for your win tonight versus your win a few years ago, which one's better, or can you evaluate that yet, and which party would be better?
I'm taking this one in a little bit more. I was just so, you know, everything was just so crazy at the end of the 2016 race with the final lap, how it all played out. I couldn't believe anything that happened. It was in awe the whole time. This one, I actually, through the red flags and everything, I was kind of taking everything in. I fell asleep twice and under a couple of the red flags because I was just relaxed. I knew what I needed to do, and I wasn't going to venture off from that. So I wasn't nervous about, hey, what if this happens? What if that happens? I knew in my head what I needed to do, and if the race worked out great for us, we were going to win. If it didn't, I'd put forth all the homework and done all the work to figure out where I needed to be, and I knew where I needed to be, and circumstances was going to dictate whether we won or not. So I was pretty relaxed the whole time and really taking all this in. What? Which party is going to be bigger? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I was feeling pretty bad last time. The plane ride up was awful for me. So I hear I have an extra day to prepare. So that's good news.
We're going to go upstairs to the press box and then in the back to Peter.
Lee Spencer, RacingVoice.com. Gabe Hart, you're batting 500 at this point. What do you have to do with this team so you don't become complacent now that you're already in the playoffs?
Complacent is not my vocabulary. We're going to go win 35 more races the way I look at it. People say you can't win every race, and I disagree. I mean, I show up every weekend to win, and I know Joe Gibbs expects that of us. I know Denny does, and I know my race team does. So my intent is to win 35 more times, and we may fall short, but I'm going to Atlanta to get another one.
Go on the far back over here, and then we'll go to the left.
Great, thank you. Peter King, CBS News Radio, and this is for Denny back here. And those last 10 laps were like
An hour long.
Literally.
Well, I was going to say not like a race. It was
clock in
more.
my car.
It was more like Survivor out there. So tell me what it was like to be able to avoid those 3 huge crashes. And I think at last count we counted 36 different cars were involved total with all 3 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, you know, I was actually looking at the time on the dash. It was 5:40 something, and I'm like, and I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm like, wow, at 6:15, we're gonna know the end of this race. And I look, and I'm like, at 6:30, we're gonna know the end of this race. They're sitting on the red flag, and I just see the ticker just going. I'm like, at 6:50, we're gonna really know who won this race. So it was crazy how long it took, and I've been in so many different super speedway races. I've seen, you know, 5 laps take an hour before, but the track was just an absolute mess, especially in 3 and 4 with all the crashes. We just were fortunate to really be up front at the right time to avoid those. I mean, we were really 1 row in front of all the mayhem the entire time at the end. So that's a credit to the pit call we made at the end to get our track position back from the kind of the fueling issue that we had mid-race. But it's just, I mean, sometimes you're fortunate to be in the position you are. We were pretty lucky to be up front at the right time.
Going to go to Mike, Dominic, and then Nate.
Mike Massey, frontstretch.com. To properly celebrate a win like this, like how do you properly celebrate a win like this when you have that champion's breakfast at like 7:30 tomorrow morning? Do you stay up all night, or do you try to get a few hours of sleep?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been under the weather a little bit over the last couple of weeks, so I probably won't get too crazy, honestly.
Actually, he and I both, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I may have
believe that or not.
transferred that, but it's been a tough couple of weeks. Just being sick a little bit. So I'm not going to get too crazy, but I want the team guys to really enjoy it. I mean, there's a lot of new faces, a lot of same faces that we've had that were here in 2016 that got to enjoy it. And I just never will forget celebrating with them and seeing how excited they were after winning a Daytona 500. Because you just, honestly, you never know, right? I mean, you're a pit crew guy. You could be moved to another team, and you don't know if you don't, will you ever win it again? I encourage all those guys to really live in the moment and enjoy it, because, you know, I definitely, you know, that was some of my fondest memories from the first one, was spending it with the team guys.
We're going to go to Dominic, Nate, and then up to the press box.
Dominic Ottagon with the Racing Experts to your left. So now that you've tied Dale Jarrett now on the 24th all-time on the wins list, is that something you take a look at, or just kind of comment on what that means to you?
Wow, he's so much better than I am. Yeah, I don't know. That's amazing. Never really thought of it that way. Those are guys that, I mean, I idolized growing up. I mean, I shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as Dale Jarrett. So it's crazy that, you know, we have the stats that we do. I never would have thought it, you know, in the 14-year career that I'd have one Daytona 500 champion. I wouldn't have dreamed I'd have 10 wins. I wouldn't have dreamed anything that's been accomplished, but certainly, you know, won't take it for granted.
Thanks.
Go upstairs to the press box.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. For Denny and Coach, too, if he'd like to address it. When you have such a tragic event such as JD's passing happening so close to the start of the season, I just wondered when it could produce heavy hearts and so forth, how did you feel the team approached dealing with that coming down to Daytona? It almost seemed like you guys had a very calming effect the entire speed weeks.
Well, I think for me, I just really appreciate everybody. Chris said it, everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing, it's like a huge family. And I want to say that NASCAR itself, if you think about everybody in that winner's circle, everybody from NASCAR, Jim France, and everybody all the way down, I just appreciate that so much. And the other thing that's different about this sport that I really appreciate is our sponsors. And the emotion and everything that's wrapped up in this, FedEx, everybody there, the relationships you develop with them, and you go through tough times, tough year last year, and then to have a victory like tonight. And I appreciate everybody here from FedEx, and I got a chance to call Fred Smith and thank him. And then Toyota, if you think about a partnership like that, how much they put into this as a company, as big as that company is, and all the things they can do, they choose to be a part of this sport and this race team, and they're a huge part of it. I can't thank them enough. And so I think, I hope we all kind of get that. What's special about this sport is our sponsors and all the relationships and everything that it takes to get to have a good race team. And I just appreciate that so much. And it's always been people that in my life that you appreciate are the people. And so just really thrilled to be a part of a sport like this. I know we've gone through tough times here recently. I'm going to tell you, I swear I think our best year's in front of us. And we got so many people working so hard right now in our sport. So I'm fired up about it, and this is the only thing me and my family want to do. We don't have anything else. So this has to go.
We'll go to Nate, John, and then Bob.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Two quick ones for you, Danny. One, the fact that you and Kyle work so well together, there's always a lot of dissection of your relationship. There was the number 18 pit stall last year at Miami. Was this validation for that you guys can kind of work together and be good teammates, be good teams together?
Yeah, I really think over the last handful of years, we've really worked well. I had a great working relationship. I mean, I had forgotten about the Homestead thing, to be honest with you, but I mean, we did exactly what we said we were going to do: work together the entire race until 10 laps to go, and then let's go out there and try to get a win. So we, you know, I know that he wants it bad. I understand, you know, the fire that he has to win the Daytona 500. Trust me, if I could switch resumes with him, I would, in case I ever had to write one. But he's just he's a great talent. His time's coming. There's no question about it. He's usually getting wrecked out early and never even had an opportunity, to be in the position that he was at the end of tonight. I think the one advantage that I had is I've been in that situation so many times over the last 10 years that I knew where I wanted to be. And I'm sure mental notes have been made, and obviously, if it turns around the other way next year, I'll congratulate him the same way.
And then for you, after a winless 18, I know first time in your career, I think you're set with Gibbs beyond this year. But when you have winless seasons like that, people start asking questions. You've got the new crew chief here with Chris. Maybe both of you could address this. I mean, how important is to get a win first race out of the box and kind of maybe quell some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident in everything that we have going here. I've got a great company in FedEx that has supported me for the last 14 years and believes in me, and Joe and his family has believed in me. It's not like we weren't competitive. We just didn't win the race. I mean, we were leading on the final restart at Brickyard 400 and the Daytona 500 last year, and circumstances took us out of those races. You win both of those in the same year, and they think you're amazing. So we just didn't win the races, and I understand that that's very important. But we've been competitive my entire career, and I don't see that changing. I know that Chris has got a great plan ahead of us. Starting next week at Atlanta, I've actually got to do some work maybe I won't do that now. Yeah. But he had plenty of work for me to do in the middle of this week to get prepared for Atlanta.
We're going to have to rewrite this week a little bit, but that's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's he's prepared, and he knows that he wouldn't have took the job if he didn't think he had a competitive driver. So it's good to go out there and validate all that.
Any thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't say enough about the people. I mean, and this guy is the winningest driver on today's Cup circuit who has not won a championship, and he's come close so many times. And we're going to get him there. But, Denny Hamlin not capable of winning with Joe Gibbs racing behind him and FedEx behind him. And, I mean, I'm the lucky guy. They asked me to come in and try to shake it up and put a fresh perspective on it. And I said, sure, I'll jump at the chance, because this guy's got what it takes to win at Homestead and win it all, no question about it. And if I can be the guy to help provide the spark to get that done, then strap on and let's do it.
We'll go to John, Bob, and then Beth Ann.
John Haverland, New Mexico Motorsports Report to your left. For Denny and for Coach, I just wanted to get your thoughts. Were you surprised at how well the 95 ran today? Like, he led about a quarter of the race.
Yeah, he really ran well and did a great job in the draft. And really, that's when I talked about we were always one row ahead of the Mayhem. I saw he was right behind me, pushing me on one restart, and I actually moved up to block him. And the next thing you know, he gets wrecked. So it's like, circumstances, and Joe's got a better understanding of why he thinks all that stuff happened today. But we were very fortunate. But yeah, he was running great. Obviously, Wheels has a lot of notes from what we were successful here with, and that car was super, super strong. And it'll be very important for us to have that car running strong and to gather more information, because, as an organization, we don't want to lose a car. And by losing, Furniture Row last year, hopefully that 95 team can kind of pick up where they left off.
We really kind of hit it off with Bob and their group. I appreciate Toyota and all that they've done over there. I really think we have a great chance to take that team and continue to work with it. I think it's going to take off. I was thrilled for the whole weekend. I kidded Bob. I said, the very first race in that 125 and you kick our rear. I says, you're not supposed to do that, okay? Back off. But really, that isn't a very important partner for us. We are the small number, the Toyota cars. So we need that car to step up, and I was thrilled that they ran the way they did.
We'll go to Bob, Beth Ann, and then Holly.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. I have two for Denny. First off, is there any part of you that's still wondering how in the world the Fords couldn't work enough together to beat you?
They took each other out, it looked like. I don't know. The wrecks were always behind us, which I didn't kind of see, but we worked really well together. The Toyotas, we had a few Hendrick cars help us in certain situations as well, which was big. And really, it just you can kind of just find your way to the front. I mean, if you can't beat them, sometimes you have to join them. You have to join the pack that they're in. You got to see what they're doing and join them. So they are very strong. They've got some great drivers over there, but really the numbers has been the biggest thing that's been the biggest obstacle to beat with those guys, is that they just have so many of them. The power's in the numbers. And so I put our group of 4 or 5 up against anyone. And today you can see, the little manufacturer has a 1-2-3 finish. That's a pretty good feat.
And also, I think I can politely say that confidence has not been one of your issues. But
thank you.
I'm curious if last year at all, did you ever lose any confidence by going winless?
No, not really, because I was still competitive. I mean, I think we had a string in the middle. I think right when the playoffs were starting, we won like 3 out of 4 poles in a row, and we were fast. We just, we struggled in certain situations, and really this year being a whole new ball of wax, it's just, it's a complete reset. So there was no doubt that, whether it was last year's package or this year's package, we're going to be successful and we're going to win races. Some of the greatest drivers have had winless seasons. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, those guys. So, I was never doubting whether I was still capable of, winning races, and I'm still not, as you know.
We'll go to Beth Ann, Holly, and then Caleb.
I'm only 38, by the way. Why does everyone try to shove me out the door? I'm 38. Statistics say 39 is your prime. What's wrong with you people?
38 sounds good to me. I wish I were 38 again. So you're doing just fine.
You look 38.
We'll love your sweetheart. Anyway, you got 3 in a row this time. 1, 2, 3 finish. And how is that going to affect not only your team, but the whole Joe Gibbs racing team? And another thing, I'd also like to take you back to that letter you wrote as a child about winning the championship and that promise you made to Joe about bringing him one of those. How do you feel this year with this kind of start toward getting that goal?
Yeah, the 1, 2, 3 finish is great. I can't remember, did we have a 1, 2, 3 in 2016? I think we did. I'm not too sure, but there was always. There's going to be one excited one, and 2 that think about what could have been, obviously, and luckily we're on the good end of that. But certainly, as an organization, these are the days that you hope for. So, Joe can kind of touch on that, but I know it's really big for everyone at the shop to have a Daytona 500 victory, no matter who wins it, because everyone has their fingerprints on every single race car. There are no team guys when we enter that race shop. So it's a team victory, and we treat it that way.
We'll go to Holly, Caleb, and then Matt.
Holly Kane, the NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, we talked about this at Media Day, but you got the first win here as a rookie. You've won 2 Daytona 500s. I think you're one of only 2 active drivers with multiple Daytona 500 victories at this point. Would you concede this is a place that you feel pretty good at in this style of racing, and could you just talk about that?
Yeah, there's something about Daytona. It just fits, whatever I do. It's my style or whatever. To have won, I think this is our 9th win at Daytona in different series and clashes and things like that. It's just, I never would have dreamed winning 9 times at Daytona. So this is just one that this one's extra special, but I just think I've gotten smarter as I've gotten older about where the things that I need to do. Really, it took past failures over the last few years of not winning the Daytona 500 and learning from those circumstances that put me in the situation tonight to put myself in the right situation to go out there and win. So it's just years of experience helps with all that. But as far as the first win here as a rookie, that had to be complete luck. I have no other explanation. Thanks.
We'll go to Caleb, and then Matt and Mike.
Caleb Whistler, KickingTheTires.net, for Coach or Denny. This is the 100th Cup Series victory for Joe Gibbs Racing in a Toyota. How special is it for you to have 100 wins with one manufacturer coming in the sport's biggest race?
It's really great for us. The relationship we have with Toyota, the partnership, the friends, and that have developed over our period of time with them. It's a special deal for us, special for them. And to realize, like I said, you got a company like that could be doing a million different things around the world. And for them to choose to be in our sport is just a huge deal, I think, for us, the sport. They're great partners for us. And the big thing is they want to win. We've gone through this year quite a bit with JD. Coy coming over now is a big part of, him moving over when JD got sick. So we've had a lot of change, and then we bring in Martin this year. There's been a lot going on, but our people there, I think, at the race team, we've got a lot of people been there with us 20 years, really, and a lot of those in the management team. So it's Chris mentioned it, it's our people. You win with people, and we certainly got great partners.
Go to Matt on the far left side.
Matt Corson with theracingexperts.com for Denny. It's my understanding your 2016 win car currently sits in your living room at home. Will this one be going back there next year when it comes out of the museum? And for Coach, are you going to let him have it?
First of all, he already threatened to bill me for the car I wrecked in the clash practice.
That's a side story. Nobody was
Okay.
supposed to know that. Honestly, I will tell you the absolute truth. I did get ticked off, okay? So
Oh, no, I knew. The upper lip was trembling when you were talking to me.
I go in there, and at some point in there, Coy and I are sitting in there, and I said, and you're going to pay for that car, too. I gave him one of those, and so I walked out in the winner's circle there. I walked up to him, and I said, forget that on the car. I got it covered.
I don't know.
That's a true story.
We got to talk about this one for sure. This is a special car for sure. But I think this is probably a special car for his family as well. So I'd like to, if I don't have it, I definitely would like to see him keep it and do something with it.
Yeah, we're going to take care of this. Yeah, we will. We'll take care of that car.
Go to Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. This is for Chris and Denny both. We saw 3 days of racing where it was a parade around the top of the track. And today, for the beginning, we had 2 lines, and they were both pretty competitive. And the bottom even seemed to be better as it got late enough in the night. Was Jim France's request part of that, or was it more of the heat of the day making the top not as advantageous as it had been?
You want to take that softball or me?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'll be glad to. This is the Daytona 500. You got the sport's best, the 36 or 36 drivers out there, and racetrack's heated up 50 degrees, and it's time to get after it. This one counts, and not only does it count, but it's the biggest one of the year. And anybody who thought they were going to line up and ride around the top for the Daytona 500 for 490 miles. He doesn't know the competitive nature of these guys. So I chuckled with my guys on the intercom 5 laps into the race when they're too wide and you can see the cars sliding around and getting runs. I'm like, oh yeah, anybody who thought this thing was going to line up and be boring's got another thing coming. And needless to say, that was the case. So it's just a whole nother thing, Daytona 500. With everybody out there trying to get after it, it's not going to be boring.
Do we have any final questions for our Daytona 500 champions? All right, Coach, Denny, and Chris, congratulations, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks to everybody out there.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, really, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, appreciate that.